Welcome everybody to another NTLkrayZ broadcast. I'm your host, NTLkrayZ, and today I have a special guest, Battle4ever. Say hi, Battle.
Hey, yes, I am co-hosting for this video to go over the new changes that Battle.net just dished out to us.
Yeah, there's some pretty big ones involved in here. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be watching Battle4ever play a random computer on very easy on the map Desert Oasis. And the reason we're doing this is this is the best way to showcase a lot of the patch changes without going into a map editor. And I'm going to be honest, I cannot make my way around that thing.
I can, somewhat.
Congratulations, Battle. Now, for those of you who didn't know, Battle does own his own YouTube channel, and I will be popping up a link about now, so you guys can go see what it is. So here we have Battle playing, and just to kind of get things started off in the patch changes, there's some pretty key ones in the general. I think the biggest is the game clock right here in the lower left-hand corner. That is huge, and the reason it's huge is because it means timings for builds is going to be insanely easy for the new player.
Yeah, the new player will actually take much benefit from actually having that timer, because now they can actually time things. Unlike pro players that usually time things in their head, new players are able to time everything to the T.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if this is a good thing. I will probably be using it to work on my builds, but when I really play, I don't think I'll use it just because I find it kind of a cheesy kind of thing to do, I guess. That just makes it a little bit easier. I can see this getting banned in any of the major tournaments. Another big thing that they added is if you highlight the menu up here, it will show you what the time is, and it is currently 11:11, everybody, just by the way. And the frame rate, which is kind of interesting. It's not that big of a deal, but it's just kind of nice, and it also shows wireless signal strengths for someone on a laptop like myself. So that's kind of nice just to be able to figure out why you're lagging, I guess. So let's go on to what everybody really cares about. It's the balance changes, and there's some huge ones. Let's just start with Protoss, because they're at the top, and the big thing that's happening is they're nerfing the Zealot and the Warp Gate. The build time for the Zealot has been decreased from 38 to 33. Increased from 33 to 38, and the Warp Gate cooldown has been increased to 23 to 28. That's a 5 game-second difference. What do you think about that one, Battle?
That's a big difference in play, because now Zerglings are able to get much faster than Zealots are, or Zealots, if I want to be correct. So it actually makes a big difference between Zerg versus Protoss, and then, I don't know, Protoss, I don't know, seems their forces get much later than they would Zerg, so that's my take right now.
I agree. I think the Zergling Rush is going to become a lot more effective against a Protoss player. I'm not sure if that's going to make that much of a difference. Some Protoss players I've talked to said they haven't felt the difference as of yet. But then again, the patch is a day old, so people still have not quite adjusted to any of those changes. We're going to skip the Terran, mostly just because they got the biggest nerf right now. And we're going to go to Zerg, which I think is probably the worst thing I've ever seen. And the reason being is they nerfed the Ultralisk. Of all the units they could have nerfed, they nerfed the Ultralisk. What they did is they decreased the damage from 15 plus 25 versus Armored to 15 plus 20 versus Armored. That's huge. I personally feel the Ultras is way too weak late in the game, as Marauders and tanks can just take those things out. I'm not sure what Battle's view on this one is. What is it, Battle?
I don't know. It's not that important for Zerg. We're talking about Zerg, right?
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. I think that was actual benefit for the Ultras to actually have not much damage against buildings.
Yeah, I just think that the problem with that is I don't think the Ultralisk does enough damage late in the game anyways for what it's worth. Especially with just how insanely powerful they are. How insanely powerful they should be, and then they just aren't. They kind of fail in it, because once you get some upgraded Marauders and a couple Siege Tanks, you can just hold off most of the Ultralisk, because by that time in the late game, it's generally gone into Marauder Marine, especially for Terran.
Yeah, because Terrans have made basically a bio build all around because they just have so many bio units they can use around the map during
Hmm.
during late games, early games, any time in the game, even for drops or anything else.
Yes.
So yeah, I do agree with you.
Another big thing that they did with the Ultras, which can kind of be considered a buff, is they got rid of the ram ability. If you remember, as a Zerg player, um, the when the Ultras was attacking a building, he would use his ram ability to do damage to the building and to do a little bit of extra damage. But what they did is they took that away and they just used the scythe attack, which is the area effect attack. Now, there's kind of a problem with that, and that's a great idea, but I don't think they quite implemented it right, because if you go and watch one of Sai's videos that he just did on the patch, he showed it attacking a command center like we see here with a whole bunch of SCVs repairing
Sorry,
the command center.
as fast as I can.
No, that's okay.
Uh,
But the problem with that is, as the Ultras was attacking the command center, it was attacking the SCVs as well, all the way around, not just the ones next to it, but all of them, even on the other side of the command center. So I think that's broken. I'm sorry, what, Battle?
uh, and well, that's actually pretty good for them to actually attack the SCVs while attacking. I mean, because their main attack is much faster than their ram, I believe, or was it the same speed?
Yeah, I think it's faster, but the problem is they're attacking the SCVs all the way on the other side of the command center.
That'd be a fair advantage. Kind of. They'll probably fix that soon, though.
I'd have to disagree with you on that one.
Yeah.
It's just I feel it just is a little bit too powerful.
Yeah.
Another.
What Zergling needs is an armor boost, though. I mean, if Zerglings have 1+ armor, then actually change the gameplay around. But Zerg just seems too underpowered at this moment in time.
All right,
Terran
so
being
let's.
at the top, Protoss being at the middle, and then Zerg being at the bottom.
Okay. Let's go to Terran now, because this is some pretty big. Excuse me, some pretty big changes. Specifically, they've changed the Bunker and Reaper. Now, these are probably the too few changes that I really hardcore agree with. Bunker rushing with Reapers have just been so effective against Zerg, against Protoss, against everyone, but mainly Zerg. And what they've done is they've nerfed all of that. And what they did is they added 5 seconds to the build time of both a Bunker and a Reaper. I think that's a good change. What about you, Battle?
That is a really good change because I was facing Pyro the other day, and his Reaper came out really late, and I was able to have Stalkers before he had his Reaper out. So actually, that did make a major difference in the Reaper. And here are Marines attacking me at the moment.
You go ahead and micro. I'll pick up the slack here.
Okay.
The other big one that I think are the next two changes that I'm going to talk about, I think are bad changes. First of all, the battle cruiser ground damage has been decreased from 10 to 8.
No.
Why? That's my big question, is why? The battle cruiser is a huge unit that you get late in the game, and it's used. It's expensive, and you're decreasing the damage. You're making it less likely to get. And honestly, I don't think battle cruisers are used enough. So I don't agree with that change at all. And I don't think Battle does as well as his nose were coming from the other side of the
really agree with it.
interweb.
Do that, they should at least increase its speed because I mean it's made to be actually a support unit. It's not really an aggressive unit because they die really quickly in low numbers. But in 4 or more, they do really well. But still, ground the air is still very powerful. Like Master Marines or Mass Stalkers or Mass Hydros take care of it, which is no problem.
Yeah, I think that's I do not agree with that change, as it hurts the overall effect of the game, because it's kind of odd, I find, that they're nerfing the Terran and the Zerg's 2 big units and leaving Protoss just alone. But the other change I really want to talk about, because this one is, honestly, it's a huge change, is the Siege Tank nerf. Originally, the Siege Tanks do just plain 50 damage across the board against everything. Armored, unarmored, they just do 50 damage. They've now changed to 35 plus 15 armor, and the upgrades have changed relative as well. Here's the problem with that. A Zergling has 35 hit points, right? And all you have to do to make a Zergling now survive one attack from a siege tank is give it 1 armor. The problem, that seems like an interesting idea, but the problem about that is it makes a Zergling now tank a lot of the damage from a siege tank, which I do not agree with at all, because now what you're doing is you're putting 70 points of damage into a unit that is only 35 HP. That's a lot of wasted DPS. What do you think about this one, Battle?
Well, I also agree with you on this one, just because now you have to have more tanks to defend yourself than you were before. Like, Zealots will actually be more effective against you as well, also as either Marines or any lower Tech 1 units that don't have armor. So now they're going to be much more effective against the tank, and now you need even more tanks to defend against your chokes or anything else.
As you keep pumping up the tanks.
It is going to make a major difference in gameplay now.
Yeah, it's quite big, because it means a lot of DPS is now wasted on units that it originally wasn't wasted on. I can see why, kind of, that they wanted to make the change, but I don't agree with it, because I think it's a little too harsh. Because, like I said, you just put 1 armor on a Zergling, and it now tanks 2 damage, and you've wasted a total of, gosh, what is it, 34 damage on a Zergling that had only 1. Yeah, I know Marines can clean it up, but unfortunately for the Zergling, unfortunately, your tanks will still attack, and it's just, I do not agree with this change at all.
Yeah.
I understand Terror needs to get a nerf, but I don't think it needs to be in the siege tank department. Alright, so now let's go on to the less important balance changes, such as map changes. Now, there's a reason I chose Desert Oasis for this map, and the reason being is because it is the one that got it got balance changes. It's the only map that got balance changes, and the biggest change, I feel, is the rocks right here. Now, originally, this natural that you're looking at right now was extremely hard to control, especially for Zerg. These rocks, which I honestly thought they would be put in a completely different spot, I thought they'd be put here, but they decided to put it here. These rocks make this an actual viable place for Zerg to fast expand. What do you think about this one, Battle? I know you don't like this map originally, but what about the change?
The change is actually is now much fairer. They took away the hill advantage, and meaning that now you can't place pylons or tanks on the side of each area of the map. It's even harder to get to now.
Yeah,
so
talking about right here, guys.
Before they actually pylon hop, like they put a pylon down my base, and then they plant like a cannon or two, and then plant another pylon. So they take advantage that way of doing cheap tricks or cheesy things against you now. They made it much harder for them to get into their base. Like at the Red Terran's base, they actually had the hill a hill that led all the way up to their base, so they could pretty much blink across.
Yep, and that hill was situated right here. I know Battle can't see it, but the viewers can, which meant that to get inside, instead of walking all the way around, especially as a Protoss player, all you had to do was just have blink and just blink in. They also shrunk the middle. I don't agree with this one, actually. And the reason being is for Zerg, honestly. Zerg need a large open space to be able to get their, as Battle slowly but surely destroys his opponent, Zerg need their large space to get a good concave or surround, and now they've shrunk it. What do you think about this one, Battle?
I think in the long run, actually, it'll make a difference because it makes the choke even more deadlier. Because now they have to go all through the middle in order to get to the base, or destroy the rocks. But still, I actually agree on Blizzard on this one for making that choke a little bit more tighter. Because now you know where the unit path will go straight through there when they're trying to get to the other base. So you can pretty much put traps here.
Oh, that is true.
It's like burrow Zerglings or Bailings, or like even have Dark Templars or tanks here waiting for them, and especially because of the towers.
Yep, that is a good point, because now that the rocks are here, the pathing does go this direction, which means, yeah, okay, I see what you're saying there, and that does make this